Hey everyone, welcome to Left of Str8 Podcasts, season number 7. We got a new name, a new logo, same great interviews, and same great podcasts for you 5 days a week. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm the host and producer, Scott Fullerton, and I always love sharing stories of our LGBTQ community and, of course, straight allies. Have a new lineup happening. It starts today. We're going to be doing Left of Str8 Show interviews every Wednesday and Thursday. On Friday, we're bringing back Standing on My Soapbox, where we'll be talking about hot button issues of the day. Mondays, we'll be doing Bears of a Certain Age with my good friend Johnny Sheffield out in Spokane, Washington. And Tuesday, it's always time for little 5 questions with, bringing back our guest from the previous week for 5 hot seat questions to have a little fun with him and get some fun answers. So I hope you'll tune in this season. We're starting off with a month of new sponsors here. I'm so excited to welcome them aboard. We have Explorer Cold Brew Coffee. If you like a little cold brew coffee, but you like to be able to pick your caffeine level, Explorer Cold Brew is the one for you. You can choose anywhere from no caffeine to extra high test caffeine for those nights out in the town. So be sure to check them out. We'll be having more from them throughout the first month and a half of the season here. Also, we have Fruit Loops gifting on. Our good friend David Cruz and his friend Alan has started an amazing company where you can go to their website at fruitloops.com and find gifts for just about anyone under the sun. You can either pick your own things to put in a great little goodie basket, or they have some curated boxes that have to do with prides, birthdays, and so much more. I love having a little bit of easy gifting, and Fruit Loops makes it possible. And finally, Spencer Hodison's Gay Water is coming on board for the first month and a half. If you haven't tried Gay Water yet, it's available in just about every state now. It's an amazing drink. You have 4 flavors to choose from. It's a gay guy's favorite, vodka and soda. So be sure to check it out. For all my new sponsors, show them a little love. Tell them the Left of Str8 Show sent you. And we'll be talking about them throughout the month. But let's get on to the show, shall we? I'm so excited. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you always being part of the Left of Str8 family here. We're kicking off season 7 with 2 great interviews. If you're only seeing one here, be sure to check the station for your other link. We're bringing Rob Madge all the way from good old UK, England. Rob is an amazing performer. Their one-person show, My Son's a Queer, What Can You Do, is coming from the UK to Broadway this February. And then we have from Broadway, the amazing Tom Dangora is with us. He's producing 3 amazing shows this season, from Harmony by Barry Manilow to How to Dance in Ohio, which I'm a fan of course, to upcoming stuff. So going to be a great season here, and we're kicking off season 7 with Salute to Broadway. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Enjoy. All righty, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Left of Str8 Show with me, your host, Scott Fullerton. Today in studio with me, all the way from across the pond, as they say, a truly inspirational figure in the world of theater and LGBTQ advocacy, Rob Madge is joining me. Their amazing one-person show, My Son's a Queer, but What Can You Do, comes to Broadway in February to the Lyceum Theater right here in New York City. So take a seat. The theater's open. And we're going to have a gay old time. Cue music.
Welcome to the Left of Str8 Show, where we talk entertainment, music, books, foodies, and more each week with special guest interviews of interest to the LGBTQ community and our straight allies. Direct from your host, Scott Fullerton, chats with some of your favorite entertainers, celebrities, newsmakers, and behind-the-scenes people across the country and around the world who make it all happen. So sit back, grab your favorite beverage, and let's start talking.
All righty, everyone. We are back, and they're here. They're queer, so deal with it. Rob Madge is in the house with me. I'm so exciting. Fresh from their amazing run at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in London's West End last year, where they were nominated for the 2023 Laurence Olivier Award for Best Entertainment or Comedy Play. Hey, Rob, how you doing?
What a lovely introduction. Thank you, Scott. I'm very well. I'm very well indeed.
Such a lovely time to chat with you. I saw the big announcement in Broadway World that you were bringing everything to Broadway. It's like I had to have him on the show.
Oh,
Nicole has been minding her P's and Q's and making sure everything's perfect. I have the blue and red M&Ms and the lemon biscotti in the dressing room for you here, so we're good to
thank you so
go.
much. Thank you. Yeah, you got my rider. Just missing the champagne and all
There
the
you
flat.
go.
Yeah, great.
Well, I'm excited to have you on the show. I mean, we've gone through the holiday season now. You've been a busy boy. We're going to talk about the production you're in. You're going to be here in February. I mean, man, this is a busy time of year for you. Holidays are usually nuts. You got to be going crazy.
Yeah, I've had to sort of apologise to everyone who's expecting some good Christmas presents from me this year. I think it'll have to be some box of chocolates at best at this point. And my poor
There you
parents, they
go.
deserve the world, and they'll be lucky to get some nuts, if anything. No, it is a busy time, but I'm glad for it. I've got nothing else to do, so I like to be hectic.
There you go. Well, understandable. I'm sure they're going to understand. All right, Rob. Well, the first thing I like to ask everyone, I have two questions I ask all my newbies on the show. Tell me a little bit about where do you grow up in the UK and what kind of a kid were you? I mean, we're going to find out a lot about it in your play, but tell me about where you grew up.
Yes, you will certainly see what a nightmare of a child I was in the show. I grew up in in a tiny little part of the UK, a tiny little village near Birmingham, which is sort of the middle of the country. London's 2 hours below us, and Edinburgh in Scotland is about 4 hours above us. So we're slap bang in the middle. And it was provincial. I was, as they say in the UK, the only gay in the village. Even, I mean, I didn't really know it at that age, I suppose. But yes, I grew up in a tiny little town. I moved to London when I was 9 years old to start working in theatre. I got a job in Mary Poppins when it was in the West End to play Michael Banks, which was a dream come true. So that sort of ferried me off to London for a while, and I had a very strong Birmingham accent, but they sort of made sure that I got rid of that. It wouldn't be in keeping with Mary Poppins, that's for sure.
That's amazing. I love that. And second question I always ask is I like to know, I mean, you've obviously been very open with your parents, everything early on, but when did you come out to yourself? And when did you maybe start finding your LGBTQ tribe?
Such a good question. I think it's an ongoing process, isn't it? You never stop coming out, I find. Unlike being straight, your sexuality then is it doesn't come with half of the assumptions that it comes with being a queer person. So it feels like at some point, with every new encounter, every new friendship group, every new work colleague, there'll be a question about it, and you have to sort of out yourself over and over and over again. The first time I think I ever had an awakening was, it's mentioned in my show, so no spoilers, but I was in a community theatre production of a musical version of the Pied Piper of Hamlin, and I found myself deeply infatuated with the with the boy that played the Pied Piper. I was about 8 years old,
Wow.
and I suddenly found myself drawn to him, whereas all the other boys were inexplicably drawn to the Queen of the Rats. But no, my eyes were firmly on Mr. Piper.
There you go. I
Yeah,
understand how that goes for sure.
yeah.
And you kind of mentioned about Mary Poppins. You kind of had the trifecta though early on. Besides Michael Banks, you did Artful Dodger. You did Gavroche from Les Miserables, and then went on to Matilda. You were just a child phenom there. That had to be kind of exciting.
Well, basically, if there was a precocious little child in a musical, I guarantee I will have I will have irritated 2,000 people on a nightly basis playing those precocious cockneys. It's always cockney. I don't know why. Les Mis is set in France, but apparently Gavroche is from the East End of London. So
The go-to little boy with the attitude. I like it. That's
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah, that was my casting.
Now talk about these are all these musicals and everything. And I was looking over your resume and I saw you went to a theater art school maybe after these plays. But where did this musical talent come from? Did you have any training early on, or was it just from singing in the living room?
Singing in the living room, really. I went to, like I say, this community theatre project that's still going. It's called Stagecoach. They have multiple different venues across the country, and they'll sort of convert a school into a performing arts college for the weekend. It could be in town halls, in community centres, that throughout the week is used for something else. And then on a Saturday, all the stagey people get together and you put on a little show with the kids. And that's where I started going at the age of about 7 years old. I started going there. So they sort of they gave me a good introduction to it, and then it was Mary Poppins, and then during Mary Poppins I had an audition for a theatre school, a full-time training school called the Sylvia Young Theatre School, which is where I really earned my stripes, I'd say.
Nice. I
Yeah.
love that. And did they give you vocal coaches along the way? You just have this natural voice. I love the sound of your voice.
Oh, thank you. Well, I've had a lot of honey and lemon today. Uh, you caught me on a good day. Sometimes I sound a
There
bit
we go.
chain. But but yeah, no, I had a lot of vocal training, and then at the age of 18, though, I sort of decided to pack it all in, and I thought I was going to go and be a writer, which I suppose I have done in a way. But I sort of thought that performing was not for me anymore. God, this is selling my show really well, isn't it? I'm such a dreadful performer. No, that wasn't it. It's just, like I say, I'd been in shows since the age of 9, and I thought, well, maybe I should see whether it's what I really want to do. So I went to a straight academic university, did English literature. But as the song in Avenue Q goes, what do you do with a BA in English? You go back to performing.
Right.
But if I hadn't have taken that time away, I don't think I would appreciate it as much as I do, because all I did when I was at uni was think, gosh, I wish I was performing again. So it's always sort of been there. But yeah, I went for a long period of time without that vocal training. So then I had to sort of get back on it at the age of, I think I was 22 when I decided to rejoin. Yeah.
Well, it's amazing though, because I was wondering that because a lot of, especially child actors, they're usually looking to, especially in the States, looking to prolong that career and do some dodgy choices on occasion or get into
Yeah.
some trouble and other reasons. But I
Mm,
saw you went to Warwick University there. I think
yeah.
we know them as the hot little butts and the rowers and everything, probably from the States here is the only reason we know them. But I was
Well,
wondering what kind of brought you to university.
any
That's amazing.
publicity is good publicity, isn't it? Gosh, I didn't know the Warwick Rowers had crossed the pond. God, they've made it. Wow, well done, Warwick Rowers. Yes, for all those who don't know, my university has a rowing team and they have a salacious Christmas calendar every year where they do quite the photo shoots.
They
But
are
yes,
huge over here. They're in my little gay secret chat. It's like, has the new calendar come out? Has the new calendar come out? So, yeah, big time
gosh,
over here in the States, my friend.
oh, I'll drop them all a WhatsApp and say congratulations. You've
There
made it.
you go.
Made it.
Now,
Big
did
white
you?
way.
So you did totally just English there. You didn't work in because they have a great arts program there too. I know it's like in the center of campus and everything, right?
Yes, they've got one of the best theatre degrees. If you're doing an academic theatre degree, then Warwick is one of the absolute best in the country. But I didn't do that. I did just do straight English lit. But I meant you could pick all of your specialist subjects within that, and all I did was plays. I just picked all the modules that had plays, so I didn't stray too far. But they also had those extracurricular societies and clubs, which that was my university experience, really. I always think the degree sort of fell by the wayside a little bit. I did all right, but I mean, I could have done better if I wasn't, president of the Musical Theatre Society. It was Rachel Berry kind of vibes. But I truly had the best time there. And I would say it was an academic university, but doing something like a club, a drama club, where you are in charge and you have to put the shows on yourself. You're in charge of the budget, all those sorts of grown-up things. That's where I really cut my teeth. That's where I learnt. I learnt so much at Warwick at uni, about creativity mostly, because up until that point, all the musicals I was doing, as much as I love them, they're very much, that they're pre-made. They've been running for years beforehand. You stand on the X, you deliver your lines. This is how it is done, and then you leave, and then someone else comes in a year after. With Warwick, and now with the work that I try and do now, it's much more free, and you can take such liberties with your creativity and your own artistic license. And I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't have gone to uni. I don't think. I think I would think my role in life was to stand on the X and do the dance, and that's a great job every now and then. But
Right.
for me, I need to spice it up a little bit every now and then. And had I not been taught that you can do that in those university societies, I don't think I ever would have done. So yeah, I had a great time at uni. Fully recommend it.
That sounds so great. Of course, it's so important to kind of get those opportunities. I mean, over here with the actors and everything, I remember a couple of, when I started the show 8 years ago, and it was really hard to get a role. So people started creating their own roles. And that's when we had a lot of the web series and things like that. And a
Yeah.
lot of people were kind of learning it by fly, but to be able to do that in college, that's an amazing thing to do. Now that
Yeah.
you've got all this notoriety, are they asking you back for special lecture series or anything? Or would you
Actually,
like to go back?
yeah, I was doing an event the other day, and there was somebody there that was working on the event, who is now also part of the society that I was in, Music Theatre Warwick. They're called MTW. Just plugging their work now. They are fabulous. If anyone's in the Warwickshire area in the UK, and she said, we'd love to have you back. So I haven't been back really since I was there. So I'd love to go back. I think I'd feel very old and haggard, and I'd feel very sad and remorseful and nostalgic. But I would
You
like to.
would, but you reinvigorate. You see all these young students, and you figure out the joy again in it. So I think it's
Maybe.
it works both ways there.
Yeah,
Now,
maybe.
and like I said, we're getting all these accolades now. The 2023 Virgin Atlantic Attitude Awards, Theater Award,
Yes.
Rob Madge, very impressive. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. That was a really special one for me, because Attitude Magazine is the forefront publication for LGBTQ people in this country, and I just remember hiding it under my bed when I was younger, and it's really paved the way for a lot of us in this country, for sure. So for them to recognise the show in that way was deeply meaningful. For it to affect the people that it's really written for them to see themselves reflected in it was, yeah, I was so proud of that.
That is great. And I got to tell you, I mean, I was such impressed by your fashion sense. That gray outfit was amazing. Do you have a stylist, or is this all you? I mean, you have some great taste, my
I
friend.
did. I did have a stylist for that one, because without her, honestly, it wouldn't. I'd have been dressed in my pajamas probably. I'm awful when it comes to myself. Yeah, no, I had a fabulous stylist called Ilona, and she's great, and I would love to work with her again. Yeah, so I did have for that. I knew there'd be photographers and a red carpet, so I thought I'd better not turn up in a onesie.
Well, it was some amazing fashion choices. So good on her for doing that, because it was impressive. I love that. Now we finished a holiday season, and but we also have pantomime going on now.
Yeah,
Panto, I guess you call it over there. I
yeah,
mean, it's a gay boys' dream. I mean, Jennifer Saunders is like a queen over here. She's close to Cher and everything. You're doing Peter Pan, playing Tinkerbell. Jennifer
yeah.
Saunders playing Captain Hook. Talk about this. This is your second year running, right?
Yeah, second year there. Yeah, I'm thrilled that they had me back. I don't know why they did. They're fools, but haha, I'm not gonna question their choices. Yes, I'm very excited to be back. Yeah, Jennifer Saunders is the evil Captain Hook, and I'm Tinkerbell. So Panto, for those that don't know, is a tradition that has been in the UK since the Victorian era, and it was one of the first examples post Shakespeare of gender bending. It's tradition for the man to play the woman and the woman to play the man, and obviously I fall in between. So it's the perfect kind of medium for me, where I can. Last year I was a farmyard cow, like Milky White in Into the Woods, but a very sort of disgruntled Milky White was how I played it. Wanted a bigger part, and this year I'm a Tinkerbell, I'm a fairy, so that's the non-binary representation we need: cows and fairies in panto. So yes, I'm very excited.
That's amazing. You should be. I heard of pantomime. I'm a huge John Barrowman fan. So, I mean, I live and breathe John Barrowman. He talks about panto every year. So that's one reason I had a little bit of familiarity with it. But just looking at it, like I said, amazing cat. I did see, speaking of fashion, Tinkerbell is looking much better than the cow. A
Oh,
little, a little bulky there. Little
yeah,
bulky, little tough to get around. So.
yeah, she was a tough one last year. Not so much for me, but for everybody who came within a meter of its tail. They would be whacked in the face, in the wings, and I'd be apologise. All I did last year was say sorry. It was my catchphrase. I was like, sorry, sorry, sorry. Oh, it got so boring.
Well,
Yeah.
congratulations. It started back in early December. I think it's going through January 14th, right? So you're going to
Yes,
be working
14th.
right up to heading to Broadway then, right? Goodness.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, we close on January the 14th, and then I'll be heading your way about a month later.
Well, that's a great transition. Let's go ahead and play the trailer. I mean, we're talking an amazing show. So why don't you go ahead and introduce the name of your show and the trailer here?
Well then, this show that I have written and that's coming to Broadway apparently for some silly reason is called My Sons Are Queer, But What Can You Do?
And there you go. We'll be back on the other side. You're listening to the Left of Str8 Show right here in the Left of Str8 Radio Network.
When I was a kid, I was that gay that put on a Disney parade in my hall for my grandma. I had such high hopes, but unfortunately it went hideously wrong.
Anything is possible when the stage is your living room. Anything is possible with umbrellas, a suitcase and a broom. Use your imagination, there's magic up your sleeve. Yes, anything is possible if you just believe. Why is it only a choice of two? Why must the label say pink or blue? There's a whole spectrum where I found my happiness. There's joy to be had if you choose to look, and even for those that decide not to stay.
All right, we are back. That is the one-person show for my very special guest today. Rob Madge is in the house with me. Rob, I mean, amazing, amazing show. Like I said, I've seen the trailer. I've seen different bits and pieces of it. I've become obsessed online with the music from it. It all starts with Disney in the living room. I think a lot of us in the States kind of forget that Disney goes outside of the States. We have Disneyland and Disney World. Talk about what was your really upbringing with Disney? Did you go to Paris Disney? Was it all the movies? Talk about your introduction to Disney.
Yeah, Disney was it was my thing, and it was the classics for me. It was the Snow Whites and the Peter Pans, the Cinderella, Sleeping Beauties. I sort of missed the boat on Disney Channel, and That's So Raven and Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and all that. For me, it was those original, beautiful hand-drawn animations, and they still are my absolute favorites. And it was my entertainment of choice all the time. I watched them on repeat, much to my parents' dismay when I forced them to reenact it in the living room. So that's how the show sort of came about, because I found all of these old home videos of when we used to put on Disney productions in the living room, and the VHS tapes that we've got. There's plenty of them, and they're very outlandish and ridiculous. And seeing my dad play, the Sea Witch, and he's pushing the handmade float for our parade, our Disneyland parade that's happening in the hallway. I just thought were quite ridiculous. So that's why I wrote the show, really.
It's absolutely amazing seeing Grandma in the teacups chair. It's like, you are unbelievable that you were able to get your family to do that. And I mean, honestly, it's billed as a one-person show, but it's really a love letter to your parents. I think it's more of a dedication to the family than it is about you, right? I think that's amazing.
That's a lovely way of putting it. Yes, we start the show, hopefully with the intention of thinking we're going in to watch a solo show that's all about me, and I make no qualms about that. Within the opening few lines, I say this is the most self-indulgent thing you'll see. I hope you enjoy it. But like you say, hopefully by the end, it will have opened up a bit more to not even just my family, but any kind of supportive family. And hopefully that's what people leave. I want people to leave not thinking, gosh, I just watched one person show us their home videos, but hopefully leave and think, God, I want to call my mum and say thank you, or I wish I could, or I want to bring my mum to watch it, or my dad, or my sisters, brothers, whatever. That would be my true aim, is that people actually forget about me by the end of it.
Well, it's an amazing journey for yourself, although obviously, I mean, you talk all about your identity and all that comes together. So it is a journey through the entire thing, but I really did think it was a love letter, and they were just much of the star of the show as you were. So good on you for that. I love
They upstage me totally. The number one question I would get asked at stage door is, "Where's your dad? I thought your dad deserves a bow." I'm like, excuse me, I've written the whole bloody thing. Give me my moment.
There you go, right? Amazing.
Yeah, he does deserve a bow.
And I mean, we have the star in front of me in front of the production, but let's talk about behind the scenes. And Juliet is so big here in the States with Broadway. And now you have Luke Shepard. I mean, In the Heights, I'm a huge Glee fan. I'm good friends with Jen Ushkowitz and Kevin McHale from Glee. So I have them on the show a lot. And I mean, so In the Heights, I know from Leah Michelle
Wow.
and Juliet. So great. I mean, Luke Shepard, I don't know really Pippa at all, Cleary, and I'm not familiar with the British Bake Off musical. Of course,
Ooh,
that's a huge show, television show here.
it's
But
fabulous.
talk about where you found these amazing people to work with.
Luke Shepard, I had worked with in Matilda. He was the kids director in Matilda. So he was actually one of my first ever directors. And when I first wrote the show, and we were talking about potential directors, Luke's name came up, and he was instantly my first choice, but I thought he's the busiest man. So he'll never be able to do it. Well, that was the one positive to the pandemic, because he wasn't the busiest man. And I think if we'd got him at any other time, he wouldn't have been able to have done it. But because he wasn't working, he thought, oh, got to do something, haven't I? So then we got him, and he's never left us. Thank you, Luke. So I've known him since then. And Pippa was Luke's pal. They wrote a musical together. Not together. Luke directed a musical that Pippa wrote called The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole. And we just clicked. Pippa and I, the first day I met her was when we started writing the show. Luke said, I'm going to bring you over to Pippa's house. Let's see if it works. And the pressure's on then, isn't it? Because if it doesn't, you're in her house, you're drinking her Prosecco. There's no going back. But luckily, she's just an absolute genius. And she just understood that parody of a Disney parade sound that I wanted. She got it bang on. And now she just wrote the opening number for the Olivier's, and the Olivier's have never done an opening number before. And Hannah Waddingham was the lead singer of it, and it was a big number that featured every big musical that was happening in the West End at the time. That had never been done before, and she's really, at the forefront of female British composers. There aren't enough of them getting the plaudits. There are plenty of them, but not enough of them get the recognition. And she's really leading the way on that forefront. So yeah, she's fabulous.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm so excited you were able to get them. And going back to the music, like I said, not really any formal training. Did you kind of give her idea? I mean, the big song is just amazing. Did you kind of give her the idea for those lyrics? Was that all her? How did the big showstopper come about?
We shared the lyrics. I'd go with an idea of I'd go with the message that I wanted the song to have, and then we'd formulate lyrics around that together, and we'd bounce off of each other. It was never meant to have songs in it at all. It was a couple of weeks before we did our first show, actually, that it was a straight play. And Luke, one rehearsal, just said, "I think we could do with a song here." I went, "Really?" I was like, "Well, I can't compose. I can write lyrics, but I'd need someone to do the tunes." And he said, "Well, let's just introduce you to Pips." And then this one song ended up being, I think, 5 or 6, and now we're adding a new one for Broadway. So it just worked. It worked really well. And I can't ever imagine it without the songs now. They're such an integral part. You can say things in song that you just can't say in dialogue. And there were plenty of monologues that I had that I just felt, oh, this is a little bit soapboxy. I feel like I'm giving a presentation. I feel like there should be a PowerPoint behind me and I'm giving a lecture. But then when you add music to it and you rhyme a few bits, it's fine. You get away with anything. So yeah. She's fab.
That is so cool. And then the orchestration where you have everyone doing in the video and everything. This is a one-person show, but now you have this orchestration and all these great people backing you up. That had to be kind of exciting to add just another element to it as well.
That was very special to me because they're all really close friends of mine and they're all LGBTQ+. They've always been there for me in my journey of discovering my identity. I've been there for them. So it just felt like a really powerful thing for us all to come together and deliver that performance and for it to be on the album. Yeah, I'm very proud that we got to do that. Sadly, they can't be with me on stage, which I'm gutted about because it means I have to do more. It was nice to be able to let them sing a few lines and have a break. But it would just be me. But I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Get the album. You'll hear them all there.
There you go. I like that. Exactly. I had one of my listeners ask a question. They said, how has your background in theater influenced the way you tell the story in this play? Did you take any elements from work? Did you take any just from your own experience in the theater? How did that lend itself to your show?
I think one of the biggest things that was going on in my brain when I was writing it and still when I perform it is I think a lot of time theatre underestimates the importance of the audience. That fourth wall, often we like to utilize it to its fullest extent and pretend that there's nobody there watching, which is fine, works perfectly well for certain plays. For this, really important that it felt like they were there with me. In a one-person show, they become your other characters, they are your other actors, and you need to bounce off of them. They have to provide you with things to respond to and vice versa. And I think some of the most exciting theatre I've ever been to is when you're watching the show, but you're also feeling the energy around you. And it feels palpable, that buzz. And you don't get that watching a film or watching the telly, but that shared experience of, oh, this is making you cry. I'm crying too. Oh, this is making you laugh. I'm laughing too. And I'm there performing it going, I know why, because we share this story. And they sort of become my mates. So what I learned most from all my theatre training is don't underestimate or undervalue your audience. They will provide you with greater notes than any director ever could, you know?
Right. That's the amazing part of the theater. You have that immediate feedback. I mean, films and everything, you do the work a year or so in front and you never know. You don't have anything to kind of judge it off of, except, I mean, the directors are all very good. Of course, very helpful, but it's nothing like a live audience each night to kind of give you that feedback and just...
Yeah, you can rehearse something to death. But if it doesn't land with them or it doesn't click, you got to change it. And yeah, there's just nothing like it.
Now, speaking of that, you're bringing it from the West End and Edinburgh Fringe to Broadway. Have you had any experience with the difference in audiences from UK to America? Do you have any expectations of the differences you're going to expect in the audience? What are you looking for in that sense?
With the hopes of coming to Broadway, we presented the show back in May to a select invited audience. And yes, I learnt a lot. We have very different reference points, which is, that's fine. But when that's the punchline, you need to make sure that we're all on the same page. So yeah, there's been some extensive rewrites, which I'm really excited about. It keeps it very fresh for me. I'm sick of churning the same show out over and over again. It has to reflect where it's playing. So yes, there's been quite a few rewrites, and I'm excited to test them out.
Fantastic. And you talked about being asked at the stage door about your dad a lot. Can you share any memorable moment or reaction from an audience member from the UK that's kind of stayed with you all this time?
It's actually always the when you see the traditional blokey looking fathers who probably would have rather have been anywhere but the theatre on that night, and their wives probably dragged them out, or their children, and they'd rather be sat at home watching the football. Seeing how it ends up moving them, how it unexpectedly gets them, is really special to me. And I've had lots of deep conversations with dads who have never really considered how important they are. And it's not so much that they need to go out of their way to say all of the right things and do all of the right things. It's just that sudden self-awareness that maybe that roll of the eyes that you gave when your son said he wanted to wear a dress that day might instill a tiny bit of shame, and why we should not do those rolls of the eyes. It's the tiny little things that you say and do as a parent and as a friend or whatever, a work colleague. We don't say bigotry, I find. We act it in small, tiny ways. And being able to talk that through with a lot of dads who didn't realise the effect that they might have had, and how they now feel, hopefully having learned a little something, and vice versa with dads that do the exact same, that you'd look at, as my dad, I mean, that you'd look at them walking down the street and you would think, oh God, I wish everybody was queer. Why do men have to be like that? And actually, behind closed doors, they're putting on shows with their little boys and dressing up as Ariel. You just never know. It's taught me not to judge a book by its cover. I wrote the show for a very select audience and people, a small group of people that I thought would get it. And that was queer people that were interested in theatre. But the people that have ended up coming and that are deeply affected by it are the people that I actually had in my narrow-minded viewpoint were the enemy, and they're not. What I've learned is that everybody's actually trying their best. Not everybody, but a lot of us are trying our best, and it's been really eye-opening for me as much as it has been for them. And yeah, I'm very grateful for those experiences and those chats that I've had with people.
Well said, though. I love that you're able to experience that at the end of each show. That's amazing. How do you approach the balance when you're writing this between like your little angel of humor and your little angel of emotion when you're storytelling? How do you balance that humor and emotion?
Oh, what a great question. They're always in conflict with one another. If I feel that we're getting too sentimental, happy one has to chirp up. We call them treacle cutters. Luke Shepard's very good at it. He'll go, we need a treacle cutter here. Just something to break the sap. And vice versa. If I feel like it's getting performative and inauthentic, because sometimes we try and be funny when we just are. We don't need to add extra, then I'll have to counteract it and bring the truth back. But I love, there's nothing I enjoy more than effing with an audience, if I'm allowed to say that, like with their expectations and twisting it and subverting it, and you're laughing at it, and then I make you think you probably weren't meant to laugh at that, and then I go, why were you laughing at that? And you then don't know what to think, you don't know how to react, and by the end of it, hopefully you've gone on this big old roller coaster of emotions. That's the plan.
That's great. All right, last two questions, and I'll let you get out of here. I know it's later for you over there in the UK. What role do you think theater plays in promoting LGBTQ awareness and acceptance?
Huge. I think it plays such a huge role because it's a safe space. reality is suspended when you walk into the walls of a theatre, and I really hope for that reality to I really hope for that fantasy to become a reality. I hope that the best theatre, you should walk in, you can sit down, relax, and think you're having a bit of escapism, but by the end, you actually take what you learn in that safe space and apply it to the outside world. It's the one platform where the opportunities are absolutely limitless, endless. And I always say that there's always so much. People are so willing to suspend their disbelief over certain things, but not others. There's a show that was happening where a wicked witch is being played by a drag queen, and that's an issue. However, they are willing to suspend their disbelief that Dorothy talks to a scarecrow. Do you know what I mean? So you have to you have to take everything with a pinch of salt in that respect. But there is no other platform like it. Panto is such a tradition over here. It's one of the first shows that kids go to see in the UK. Musical theatre as well, I think, is a very accessible mainstream form of theatre. So if those shows that kids go to aren't reflecting the world that these kids could grow up into, then we want to inspire the kids to have a positive future. And if you're still going to see shows that don't reflect 2023, then you're just lying to future generations. So I think there's so much power in theatre.
So well said. Well, I'm so excited we get to trap you here in America for about 4 months. So I'm excited for that. It's a 6-hour drive from me in Ohio, so I will be there at that back door. So I'm going to pop on by. I've been banished to Northeast Ohio from the coasts, unfortunately. But I will be driving into New York to see you for sure. Talk about, this is going to take up a lot of your time. We're talking 4 months of this. What are the plans after? We talked about a cast album. Big streaming is big here now, doing performances and streaming it so everybody can see it, making a DVD. What are your plans? What are your hopes and dreams now?
Just world domination. Nothing too big. Just taking over. I don't know. Gosh, who knows? Who knows at this point? I would love it to be more accessibly. Streaming is such a great way for people who can't afford tickets even
Exactly.
to come and watch. So who knows? But I'd love to do something like that for sure.
Well, congratulations on all the success you've had overseas. I know it's going to be just as huge a hit. Just the pre-buzz for it. Everyone's so excited, looking forward to having you come here. So I'm excited for it. Let everyone know the date you're going to be here. It's February 17th, I believe.
February the 17th.
June something. Yeah. We'll have everything on the website here, but
we're there from 16 weeks.
All right. Well,
17th.
I appreciate all your time. This is amazing. Congratulations. You deserve every bit of the success, my friend.
Thanks so much for having me, Scott. Thank you. What a lovely chat.
Well, I enjoyed myself immensely. Let everyone know before you go, though, where they can find you on social media. And is there a website for the play or for Broadway where they can find more information?
That's a great point. Before I answer it, let me just make sure I get the website URL correct. I think it's mysonsofqueerbroadway.com. Yes, that's it. Yes. Fabulous. Well, yes, I am on all the social medias. I am on TikTok at Rob_Madge_. I'm on Twitter, or X as we call it now, Rob_Madge_02, and Instagram, RobMadge02. No underscores on Instagram. And yes, the website for the show is mysonsofqueerbroadway.com. And performances actually begin on February the 27th for 16 weeks.
I love it. Guys, tickets are on sale now. You can order pre-sale tickets now, so be sure to head out towards that website. Get on there. Rob Madge, amazing for having you on. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks, Scott.
All right, stay on the line for me, guys. We're going to have a special 5 questions with Rob next Tuesday, so be sure to be in line for that. We appreciate you coming every week on Left of Str8 Show, listening to our interviews. We'll be back with another one next week. Thanks for showing up, everyone. Bye-bye. All right, that was great. You had such a great conversation.
Thanks for listening to The Left of Str8 Show. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast distributor, and please give us a 5-star rating so more listeners can find us. You can follow us on social media, and be sure to check out our website, www.leftofstraightradio.com, for contests and other news and information. See you next week.